Hi, Kit Works with you, Flower Duet, and I'm so glad you could join me for this Lunar New Year inspired red lantern design. We're using traditional lucky flowers for the Lunar New Year of red and gold. You can use any red and gold combined flowers. I'm going to talk about that in the class, and also talked about how you can adapt this for other kinds of holidays and celebrations as well. The flowers I'm going to use in the demonstration today might not be the same ones you can find, but the idea is you want to use some focal flowers and some accent flowers. So what I'm going to use today are some red roses, red hypericum berry, some leucadendron, yellow ranunculus. I have yellow billy balls or cuspidia, and some yellow Viking mums. And again, you can use a variety of different flowers. The red roses are the focal flowers, so you'll want to have maybe one kind of focal flower, maybe a Gerber daisy, or you can use carnations. And then you want to have a lot of small accent flowers to go with it, to kind of pull in. So you want to stick with one main focal flower, and then you could go with a gold main focal flower, so you could go with a yellow rose if you wanted to. So that's where we're going to go, and those are our floral materials. There are two ways you can design in a lantern. You can pull the glass out and then have the flowers coming out from all sides. We're going to do it with the glass in and then have this door open so that flowers can spill out. So what we need to do is we need to have some sort of architecture inside where we can attach our candle into our floral foam that's going to act as the reservoir to keep the flowers fresh. So let's walk you through that. What I have here is a soaked oasis floral brick. So it's already been soaked with water and flower food. It's an entire brick, and you can see it has 3 markings of 3 lines. We're only going to need 2/3 of a brick. It seems like not a lot for this tall lantern, but we don't want to use more floral foam than we need to use. We're using a small oasis design dish. So this says Oasis on the bottom. And what I want you to do, if you have a little bowl or something that you're going to use to go in the bottom to hold your floral foam, is I want you to test it and see if you can slide it into your lantern that you're using without turning it sideways to get it in. You want to make sure that, this is important, that your little dish you have in here goes in straight in. Because if you have to slide it in to get it in, it's going to be harder for you. So we're going to use this small dish for our foam. Now we're going to take our foam and we're going to turn it tall, and I'm going to push it slightly down. I'm going to make it even, and I'm going to make an impression on the foam. So what that does is it shows me, if I lift up, where I need to carve away in order for this to fit snugly into my dish. So then I turn it upside down, see where I pushed, and then I'm going to take those corners off of the floral foam. That's called carving. So now I have kind of more of an oblong piece of foam. Now let's see if I can, that fits a little better, but it's not all the way down at the bottom. So I'm going to take both hands, both palms of my hands, and I'm going to push it down slightly left to right, and you see a lot of water came out. I probably should have done that on my tray, so I have a tray. So now I have my soaked floral foam in my dish. It's pretty secure. There's also another tool that we can use called a Barbie chair, which I can demonstrate also separately. But basically, if this is all you have, you just want to make sure you have a dish that's going to hold the foam snugly, and you can get away with that. So now we have to put in our candle. So I have this smaller pillar candle. The reason why it's on the small side is because I'm going to fit it into the foam. If it were a wide one, it would take up the entire foam, and that's not the look I'm going for. So you could use any color candle. If you wanted to use like a more of a gold candle, maybe would be more festive, but I have this one. And what I've done is I've taken 4 floral picks and I've taped them with waterproof floral tape around the base of the candle to give it stability. I could also, so I can put this down, let's just pop it in and push it down a little bit, And what I could do is I could also take my knife and carve just a little bit out of the foam. Maybe, so I'm going to take a little bit, like, you know, if you're coring an apple or a strawberry, you take like a little cone piece out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a cone piece out of my floral foam here in the top. It's not going to look very pretty. There we go. So I got a little piece out. Now all this water's going to dump. So I went down maybe an inch. Now, I know I have my spikes and I have a little bit of an area where I can have the candle go down slightly so it's really secure. And I want it to be a little lower into the foam so that when I put it into the lantern, the wick is going to be lower than this opening. I don't want my candle to blow out. So if I want it to be a little bit lower into my foam, then I just have to take a little bit more out. I can cross pieces with my knife and then clean it out. Okay, last time to get it into my foam. There we go. Great. So now I have my candle in my foam, and before we put it into the lantern, I have to decorate the back and the sides, and then I'm going to leave the front open. I'm going to probably do it this way so I have more foam to work with, and that will help us have the flowers kind of flowing out. So I'm going to show you. See how that just goes right in, and we're going to keep it close to the front of the opening. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to add the back greenery and flowers, and then we're going to put it into the lantern, and then we're going to decorate it coming forward. I've taken my foam back out of the lantern so I can add the greenery. So we're going to take some leather fern, and we're going to cut small pieces off my leather fern like this. And I'm going to, instead of putting them down where they face down or they face out, remember this has got to go back into the glass and be very skinny. So we've got to put it into our kind of skimming our foam like that. And I want it to go up because I want it to look like it's growing, sort of like up the sides. I want it to look uplifting for the Lunar New Year. And so I'm taking little pieces. I'm not going to try to cover it completely. I'd need a lot of fern to do that, because I'm going to add some other accents in here. So I'm really just looking to give it some light coverage to start. So I have, let's see, maybe 5 stems of leather fern that I'm breaking apart into smaller pieces. Sometimes you can have a piece like this. And it's okay to put it even in the front, since if you're not sure where your front is yet, that's okay. And you can have some on top too, kind of coming up the candle. Because we do want to cover up, you know, where we added those spiky spikes in order to secure the candle into the foam. So we're basically looking to make a very organic, kind of lush look, alive. You know, traditionally for Lunar New Year, at least Chinese New Year, they usually decorate with the three friends of winter, which are, I think it's quince blossom, or maybe it's pear blossom. It's a flowering branch, because it flowers this time of year. Evergreen, so pine, and bamboo, because those all stay green or they're flowering this time of year. So it's kind of a showing of life. But then traditionally colors are gold and yellow. I mean gold and red. So we're gonna play with the gold and the red for our purposes with the flowers. So If you want to do some Lunar New Year gifting, you know, the lucky bamboo, which is a type of plant that you can have in just water and rocks. It's very easy to take care of. That's a great gift for Lunar New Year. So this design we're going to be making, it's going to be one-sided for the most part. We're going to have, it's kind of flat on the back with a little bit of greenery and a little bit of floral accents. And then the front where it's spilling out is going to have lots of flowers. So if you wanted to make this for a centerpiece design on a table, you'd probably take the glass out and then have it spilling out from all sides. Maybe keep the glass in on the door part, just for decorative. Okay, so that was our fern. You can see I kind of left the front a little bit open. We can add a little bit more to our front because it's going to be spilling out, and that's going to be really pretty. Okay, I also have some Israeli ruscus. So let's add a little bit of, I'm going to just use the tips and add a little bit of height next to the candle. Maybe we'll surround it on 3 sides. Don't forget the back. Right now you're looking at what I would consider the back, okay? And then you can use the smaller pieces to fill in maybe where you have some openings of floral foam on the back. So this is kind of starting out. It's a pretty, I would call it kind of a fussy arrangement because you're adding a lot of little pieces in for coverage. It's not an instant thing, but what we're doing is we're building interesting layers so that the design has different textures, slightly different colors of green, and it makes it look interesting. So it's something interesting to look through the glass, almost like a terrarium. Remember, try to keep it close in on the back because you don't want it to be pressed up against the glass. That'll won't look quite as nice if it's pressed up against the glass. So try to keep it close to the foam. I also have some privet that's really pretty, a type of greenery, and it also has some cute little blooms that are starting. So we'll add some little privet leaves here. And the privet blooms are a little bit more on the pink side, but that'll be nice, a nice relief from just the red and the gold. It'll give us a little bit of a hue change, which is nice. Okay, let's see how we're doing. I have a little bit of coverage I need on the back here. And a little bit low maybe. Okay, again, the front doesn't have as much, but the back, as you can see, is starting to fill in. See, I have some more privet I can put to add different texture on the back for filling. The privet has some flat leaves, so I can just push it straight in. So that's nice. And if I have any little bit of leather fern left, like these little pieces that I pulled off, I can make them like really small. And those I can actually cut and place straight into the foam too. And they're short enough that they won't do that. Hopefully, when I get it in there, they won't do that pressing up against the edge of the vase. I mean, the edge of the glass. Let's see. Okay. So that is our, I've got a few kinds of greenery here. Now I have some little baby Brazililia berries, which will add some nice texture. They're like these little balls. I didn't introduce that in the beginning, but this is what that looks like as a big stem. So I'm taking little parts of the top, the little ball parts, the berries, I guess you call them, and I'm going to add them in to add some texture. I'll show you when So I added some there on the back. So add some here on the front. It also has some really pretty fluffy greenery that could be used as different kinds of texture. See how it looks very fern-like? Maybe I'll keep this one tall. And we can just use it a little bit as an accent. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. Okay. Some other really pretty fern greenery. Again, it might be getting a little wide. So what I want to probably do now before I get too crazy with my additions is put it back in the lantern and see. So that's what I'm going to have you do, is add a bunch of greenery. Then before we add anything more to the back, let's put it back into our lantern and see how we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Let's bring this over a little bit so you can see. And be careful not to let it tip. Support it from the top and the bottom. It's going to be a little bit of a tight fit. It's a little bit of pressing up. Some pieces I'm going to bring it forward. That should help. And then some of these bottom, maybe have them tilt down. See how that's showing a little bit, pressing up against the glass? So what I might want to do is pull out some of those ones that are pressed up against the glass and shorten them. So I'm going to do that, and we'll be back. So carefully pull it out. So support it from the top and the bottom. And some things are probably going to go flying. So let's see. This was too long. It was getting flipped, and so was some of my ruscus. So let's make this a little bit more tidy on the side so that things aren't sticking out quite so far. So the back looked good. I didn't see anything really getting crushed on the back. It was really the sides. So what I'm going to do is I have some of this privet that has some cute little berries coming, and I'm going to add some of that to the back because I know the back has a little bit more room. And I want to fill in. So basically I'm going to put this anywhere where I see green foam. I don't want, if people are looking at this lantern, I don't want them to see any green foam. And if I'm going to put some low, I need to pull it all the way up through my design. And then while I'm back here, I'm going to add a couple little hypericum berries because I'm going to have those in the front too. I'm going to add them on the sides here. So I'm just cutting them off. And then anything that I need to cover up, try to find things to cover it up with that can be flush against that glass. So I'm taking some of the little privet. So this privet blooms. Some of the stems are a little bit soft, so you got to be careful when you're adding them that you don't break them. See where to get it close, you just got to push it all the way up against the foam. Oops, that didn't want to stay in. So let's do a fern. And then maybe I have some other privet greenery I can use. That's pretty. Yeah, this looks nice. Myrtle would be good, or a type of boxwood. A small leafed greenery would work nicely too. Oh, I got to do a little bit of berries all around. I said I was going to do that, so let's add some more. I got some on that side. Let's add some on this side, really close into the... And you have a big bunch like this. Remember, keep it low, because big things are heavy. So visually, you want to keep them low in your design. Okay, so I don't have any hypericum berries on the back, so let's do that, and then I think we'll be ready to pop them back into the lantern and then build the lantern part. So again, this take your time on this. You want to cover that foam, and you want to make sure that it's got room to breathe in there, so it looks nice, doesn't look too crowded. See how are we doing there. So I can tell that this is going to be sticking out too much on the side. So I'm just going to give it a little haircut so it won't interfere, hopefully. Okay, so I've got some red accents, some fun seeded accents, and lots of greenery on the back and the sides. Now I think I'm ready to place it back into my lantern and then start really designing the wow on the front with the gold. Before I do that, I think I'm going to add, let's see, these are pretty flat and they can add some cute little, no, I'm going to wait. Okay, so let's put it back in. Again, supported from the top and the bottom. Slide it in. A little bit of water's dripping, that's okay. And bring it forward so that it's really right at the tip. I'm going to take a little bit of a stem that I have left over. Let's see, hypericum stem. And I'm going to use it to guide some of my greenery so it's not so pushed up against the glass. What might be better is to just use fern. I think the fern is a better option. So. Here we have, there, pretty. Okay, so why don't you try that, and then I'm going to clean this area up and then we'll add the focal. Okay, we have a sea of red and gold here, and we're going to play with it. So the back is done. So what we want to concentrate now is we want to have sort of it's spilling out, and so we want to maybe have some things like we have this alstroemeria that's it's like got a lot of nice blooms. So if we put something here on the bottom coming out in a triangle, or maybe just two to start. Let's see. Let's move these to the sides so you can see what I'm doing. Like that. And I think we need a third one coming straight out and removing most of the leaves just out of habit, I think. And we're going to have that come down. And we don't want these all to be the same. We don't want them to end at the same place. We want the middle one to come out slightly farther. Okay, so let's fill in some of that space between them. So I've got some ruscus. Keep most of the greenery on, just have the bottom two, and go right in between those. Remember, always cut and place your stems because stems seal up pretty fast, so you want to get them cut and placed. Some privet. So this is those cute little blooms that we saw. So let's add a little bit of this coming out so that people see the tie in between what's on the back and what's coming out of your design. I think I need to tilt this so that it's landing on the bottom. Okay, then we have some, well, let's do our focal. So we have our beautiful red roses, our focal flower. So we want to have a few spilling out the bottom. You can keep the leaves on if you want. So I have 1, 2. One kind of in the middle here, and then we want to bring it up. Want to bring your eye up, so every time you put it in, you're going shorter stems. Let me just take a look at it. Yeah, that looks pretty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 5. This is really short, only about 4 inches for my top one. And I'm going to have it hopefully not run into anything. Here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we've got red. Let's do a little more red. Got hypericum berries here. Again, let's break up those 2 roses in the middle. This has 2 sets of hypericum berries on it, so let's divide that into 2 parts. Put one here in the middle of that, and then one up high, because I don't think we have one up high in the front to draw your eye up. I also have some red ranunculus I just want to show you. You could use red ranunculus, maybe not as the focal, but you could definitely use them as a little bit of an accent. Let's see if you wanted to add, that adds just a little fun texture. They don't always do that great in floral foam, so we're going to use them, but just know that you might want to support them with a strong stem of something else. So let's do 3. Let's do 3 up here. See if I can get it into the foam. I gotta see what I'm doing. So I need to pull everything away aside so I can see some floral foam to put my flower in. Okay, I like leading with mostly red because red really is the lucky color. Supposed to ward off evil spirits, I believe. So you want to ward off evil spirits for 2021. I think that's important, or for any year. So I can see I'm missing carrying that privet bloom right through the middle. So let's grab one of these, and that's this little fluffy stuff, and it needs to go right in the middle of the design. There we go. Maybe one here on this upper right, because we don't have carrying through. Okay, so there is our wonderful lucky red for our lantern. And now we just want to do some subtle gold highlights. I also have this leucadendron. This could be fun. We can add a little bit of this. Let's add a little bit more red anywhere where we see like lacking texture. If you're going to put there, you need to bring it through. And maybe a little bit on the other side. Let's see, or up high. I like it because sometimes you can see the little flower. Okay, now I really am done with the red. Okay, let's take another look. Lacking a balance of this on this far side because I'm designing from the other side. There we go. All right. So now we've got a nice red design. So again, I talked about you could do this kind of thing for Valentine's Day, do it for a wedding, you could do it for Christmas. So at this point, you're good to go with the reds. But if we want to make it Lunar New Year, then we need to add gold, because that's the other part. Gold is for prosperity. So I have these wonderful billy balls. We're going to start with 3 and see how that goes. So we have a big one. So let's see. I need something to break up here. There, I like that. And then I want to carry it through up the design. I'm missing something here. Too far in. There we go. And then I'm missing something near the top. I'm going to do a zigzag. Let's see. So I zigzagged up bottom, zip, zip, so zigzag. So if I'm going to add another yellow accent, and I think other ideas, you could have solidago, you could use mimosa, which is also starting to come in season right now, which is really delicate, which would really add some nice pops of gold. So you basically want to know, if I have yellow here, then I don't need to put another yellow there. So I need to add my yellow maybe opposite, but not at the same height. So let's see. So opposite, but not at the same height. So see if I can get this up high. Yeah, not quite the same height. Maybe here right in the middle, lacking a little bit of yellow, or gold I should say. Don't say yellow, it's gold. Maybe keep this one on the long side, coming out. So I'm holding the lantern with one hand while I find foam with the stem of this last flower. Okay, so I think I've got a nice waterfall or spill out of blooms with yellow and, gold and red for the new year. So I think you can do this. Again, if you're working with, it depends on how big your lantern is and your foam. You might have to carve a little more foam. Maybe use smaller greenery. I think the leather fern did a better job, or other kind of fern would be good. Maybe stay away from the broadleaf. So smaller greenery, myrtle, boxwood, leather fern would be good. For your floral accents, I love the red hypericum berries and any type of little berries or little buds, like we'd use rice flower or in this case privet. The red flowers, pick a focal flower, carnation or rose. And then do your accents in yellows. The billy balls are great, but you could use solidago, which is a nice filler also, and mimosa, which is really pretty right now. So I hope you enjoyed this class, and I hope you'll join me again.